So this is Baruch here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, where it's early in the morning and it's time for the ultimate connection with God. How do we, in fact, learn how to have a session with conscious eternity? That's true that we enter into eternity every time that we get to the Shemona Esrei, but for the most part, we don't feel it because the ability or the effect of our prayer is really in olamos beyond ours. But it has a tremendous effect. The fact is, we don't necessarily recognize it, although sometimes we do, we connect. But here we're teaching ourselves actually the technique of connecting consciously to eternity. So Rabbi Mimran has really worked this out. I'm trying to learn it myself. So let's just go to the blurb that he said at the last year. He said, "What a dreadful affliction it is to be unable to stop thinking." This this is what when I first met him, as I said before, that he was raising money. He runs around the world trying to raise money, and he came to this concept of monkey talk. That's what he called it. It's like animal talk in your brain, and how to control it. We don't even realize how handicapped our compulsive thoughts make us. We're constantly thinking about this or that or this or that and fighting the fights and preparing the preparations. And that's constantly going on. Now, Rabbi Mimran want to help us a little bit. So let's see what we could do. So he says, this is a thought that you have to be aware of. Beware of repetitive thoughts. Now, these little blurb that he comes in with, I'm going to try to stick to the English part, his translation. He says this is coming from the Shara Tshuva, the Rebbeinu Yonah, the Shar Gimel, Os Tes Zion. That's where you can find it. So he said, you should be aware that great gifts were given to us through the positive commandments of the Torah, such as free will. Concerning the gift of the Vekas, it is written, to him attach yourselves. Through these gifts, man was created. Now, just going over his word, he says, first of all, talking about the positive commandments. It's a tremendous gift. And the gift is, he says, the commandments of the Torah, he says, such as free will. You could do them or you could not do them. He says that's a gift. Concerning the gift of the Vegas, and then there's a gift called the Vegas, to attach yourself to God. Okay, so understand that's the goal. Now let's read a little bit what the Rabbi Mimran says. And the great thing about this is that these are not long pieces. They're enough to just get the appetite going and then try to digest it. As the book goes on, it gets more detailed. He says the Creator gave you the gift of a mind so that it could serve you. The truth is, your mind is nothing more than a tool you can employ when you deem it useful. It is there to assist you with specific tasks, and when each task is completed, you lay it down. In most cases, some 80% of people's thinking is repetitive and useless. We go over the same things over and over and over in our minds. But the story doesn't end there. God, it is so often negative and dysfunctional because the thinking that you're thinking is about an insult or about a problem that you have coming up, and it keeps going back and forth this way. Much of our thinking is actually harmful to us. To verify this, all you need to do is observe your mind for a short time. Just watch what you're thinking without trying to influence or changing your thoughts. Try to be a neutral judge of what's going inside of your head. Listen, he says, repetitive negative thoughts can become obsessive even for people who are otherwise emotionally healthy. They drain one's vital life energy, and the consequences can be serious indeed. So I don't have to tell you, but I'm thinking for myself now because I need to do this as well. So just like everybody needs to learn this, you need to learn it over and over and over again. He's going to say later on that nobody achieved that high level of prophecy in a day. It's something you do over and over and over again. Ruach HaKodesh is not something that somebody was gifted with. It's something that somebody worked to clear his mind to make it possible. I think it's hard. It's hard to be aware of this, and that's what we're talking about. Your thoughts that are can be otherwise not really healthy. They drain one's vital life energy, and the consequences can be serious indeed. This kind of compulsive thinking is actually an addiction. Ooh. An addiction is simply an activity you feel you are no longer able to choose to stop. Your mind just keeps going on that particular, let's say, incident or comment or what you have to do today, what your problems are. Seems like it just keeps going at it. It seems that it is stronger than you. Another characteristic of an addiction is it gives you a false sense of pleasure, pleasure that invariably turns into pain. But we can all gain control of our tendency for overthinking. This is an addiction that can definitely be broken and painlessly with the correct approach. So this is what he wants to teach us, and let's see his word. He says, your mind is nothing more than a tool. It is there to assist you with specific tasks. And when each task is completed, you lay it down. Halavai. This is Baruch Fleischman, Tikkun Elevator